My name is Aaron Black, at least. That's who the world believes I am. Actor, director, America's golden boy, the man with the clean smile, the sharp jawline, the charming late night interviews. But this is the last time I will ever tell my story because after this, I don't know what'll still be. And before you judge me or call this a publicity stunt, I want you to understand something. I am not writing this to scare you. I am writing this because I don't want to disappear without anyone knowing what really happened. Everything began 7 months ago when I moved into the hilltop house overlooking Malibu Beach. Everyone told me the same thing. Aaron, you need privacy. Aaron, fame is eating you alive. Aaron, you need space to breathe. I believed them. The house had been empty for nearly 10 years, but the location was perfect. Secluded, modern, with a glass exterior that made the ocean look like it was painted into the walls. No paparazzi. No tourists, no noise, but the real reason it had been empty. Nobody told me that until it was too late. They said the previous owner simply left. They never said what he left behind. The first night in the house was quiet, too quiet. Normally, I loved silence. Being famous means you're constantly surrounded by people, by voices pulling you in every direction. But this silence felt weighted, like something unseen was holding its breath. Around 2:47 a.m., I woke up. Not from a nightmare, but because I heard someone walking in the hallway. Slow, dragging footsteps. Left, right, left. I sat up and listened. My housekeeper wasn't arriving until morning. No one else had the door code. The footsteps stopped right outside my bedroom door. I reached for my phone and pulled up the hallway camera. The feed loaded, and all I saw was static. Not blank. Not black. Static. Like an old TV searching for a signal. I got out of bed, opened the door, and found nothing, no one. But the air was cold enough to make my breath fog. I told myself it was the house settling, old pipes, weird acoustics. I lied to myself, because deep down, I knew footsteps weren't acoustics. Footsteps belonged to someone. 2 nights later, I finally unpacked. I was brushing my teeth in the master bathroom, a huge room with floor-to-ceiling mirrors. My reflection stared back at me like normal, until it didn't. At first, it was subtle. My reflection blinked slower than I did, then its eyes shifted slightly earlier than mine. It tilted its head a fraction deeper. I froze. I leaned forward, inspecting my own face. But the reflection leaned in faster, almost eager, and then it smiled. I didn't. It wasn't a friendly smile. It wasn't curiosity, it was ownership. A claim. I stumbled backward, knocking over a cologne bottle. The shattering glass snapped me out of it, and for a moment, everything returned to normal, or what passes for normal when you are not sure if your own reflection is mocking you. I pressed both palms against the sink. My heartbeat hammered inside my skull. I need sleep, I whispered. But even I didn't believe myself. My next clue that something was wrong appeared the following morning. On the kitchen counter, carved into the marble surface with an impossible precision, were the words, "You took my face." I ran my fingers across the letters, real, deep grooves that couldn't have been scratched with any tool I owned. I checked the cameras. Every single one from midnight to 4 a.m. showed the same thing. Black, not darkness, not the lights turned off. Pure void, like the lens itself, had been swallowed. When I showed the footage to my head of security, he tried to calm me. Aaron, it's probably a glitch. Happens all the time with high-rise systems, but I saw the way his hands trembled slightly. He didn't believe what he was saying either. 3 weeks passed. Nothing major happened, no more scratches, no footsteps, but the house felt wrong. Like someone was always one step behind me. Everywhere I went, I saw a shadow that didn't fit the light. Sometimes taller, sometimes shorter, sometimes inches from my shoulder. But it wasn't until the night of the charity gala that everything escalated. I left the house dressed in a tailored black suit. Paparazzi flashed cameras outside the event. Reporters called my name. Everything felt normal, at least for a celebrity. But when I reviewed the photos later that night, my stomach clenched. In every single picture, right behind me, slightly out of focus, was a man who looked exactly like me, not similar. Not cosplay, not a doppelganger, an exact copy. Same bone structure, same jawline, same scar above the eyebrow from a childhood bike accident. Only one detail was different. His eyes were pitch black, no whites, no iris, just endless darkness. I zoomed in. The more I zoomed, the more his face distorted, like the pixels were trying to crawl off the screen. I dropped my phone. And then the lights in the house went out. Complete darkness swallowed the mansion. Not normal darkness, not the kind you can blink through. This was suffocating, thick, alive. I fumbled along the wall trying to find the switch. Nothing worked. Even the emergency floor lights stayed dead. And then I heard breathing, deep, slow, behind me. I slowly turned. At the far end of the hallway, illuminated only by the faint moonlight seeping through the glass wall, stood me, same face, same clothes, same posture, but wrong. His neck was tilted unnaturally, like it had been snapped and clumsily screwed back into place. His smile was too wide-skinned, stretched unnaturally toward the ears. I stepped backward. He stepped forward, not walking, gliding. "Aaron," the voice groaned. It wasn't my voice, it was a distorted version, hollow and echoing. "You lived the life that was meant for me." My back hit the wall, my chest tightened. I couldn't breathe. The figure vanished, not turned, not faded. Vanished like a frame cut from a film. I sprinted to the front door, but the keypad didn't respond. I tried the patio locked. The windows wouldn't open either. The house had become a cage. The only thing that worked was the basement studio, my personal recording room, where I stored scripts and practice lines. The lights flickered but held. I locked myself inside and grabbed a handheld camera. If I disappeared, someone needed to know what happened. But before I could hit record, the studio monitors turned on by themselves and began playing something. Breathing. My breathing. But it wasn't live. It was recorded. Recorded from inside my bedroom. From last night. A new sound layered over the breathing. Footsteps. Slow. Deliberate. Approaching the bed. My voice whispered, Don't come closer." And then another voice, identical to mine, whispered back, "I already am." The speakers went silent. I hit record, hands shaking so violently that the camera rattled. "This thing isn't human," I choked out. "It looks like me, moves like me. It knows everything about me. And I think it wants to replace me." The studio door clicked, unlocked itself. I froze. "Aaron." The voice came from the hallway. "Let me in." I held my breath. The doorknob twisted. Slowly, silently, the door creaked open. And standing in the doorway was not Ma'am, not anymore. Its arms were wrong, too long. Its jaw hung slightly unhinged. Its smile stretched far past human limits. It tilted its head. "I've waited so long," it said. "You stole the life I was owed, but tonight..." It stepped into the room. "I take it back."